In this video, I will be showing the operation of my anything machine in shapes.io, which will allow me to basically make any requested shape. So this is it right here on the left. There's my hub, and I start by operating 2 layers at a time. So if we look at the current shape, we see it's a 3-layer shape. Because I only operate on 2 layers at a time, I will go ahead and copy that key, bring it over to the shape generator, paste it, and I'm going to remove the top layer. Right, that remaining shape, I'll go ahead and copy that, and I will paste it into my shape filter. So paste that from the clipboard. And you'll see that this is the first shape that I'm aiming for. So I'm going to build this shape, and then I'll layer the 3rd layer on top when we're done. So let's start with the bottom one. I always work from the bottom up, and this is the shape that we need to build. So first thing first, I'm going to go to my custom shape builder, and you can see I have little preview pictures of what shape I need to build. So you'll see my 2 left corners are circles, and my 2 right corners are windmills. Actually, because this is a 2x2 shape, I'll actually go into my 2x2 shape generator, and so we'll see left is circles and right is windmill. So I'll go ahead and start that, and you'll see my circles and my windmills are dropping, and they're going to come out over here. And I'm going to open up my container, and there they are. So that looks correct. Circle and windmill. Again, I have my reference shape here. So I'm just going to release that into the painter. Now, as far as paint is concerned, I have turquoise and blue. So you'll see if we look from the top right and work our way clockwise, which is the way the shapes are defined, we have blue, blue, turquoise, turquoise, and I'm going to release that into the painter. Now, this machine has a lot of flow through, and there's going to be remnants of parts from the last shape. So in order to alleviate that, I have a filter component here that makes sure that only the right shapes get through into my combiner. So I'm going to drop this into my first of 4 storage areas. And I like to build about 1,000 shapes of each in order to get me through the necessary speed. So now let this run for a little bit. You'll notice there's probably a little bit of a backup of shapes here already. So we got about a 366 backup. For the first layer, I'd probably stop this at about 500 to 600. So I'll come up here again to my shape builder, and I'll probably gonna stop it right here. So let's go ahead and stop this. I'm not going to drop any more shapes. We'll let these flow through the system. You'll see my counter is going to start dropping here as soon as new ones drop through. Stop appearing, and then when the counter gets to 0, this component will be empty. Let me unlock this register. And we can close that gate as well. You'll see the last few ones are entering the painter over here, so I can stop the colors flowing as well. Again, I'll just reset this back to starting condition while the last few ones stop painting. So here they go. My first register's filled. That's our first shape ready for combination. Now we're going to move to the second shape. And again, we happen to have a shape that's made up of halves and not quarters. So I can skip my quarter combiner here. And I'll go back up to my half combiner. And in my half combiner, we have, again, in this case, we have squares on the left and windmills on the right. So I'll go ahead and release that. And make sure that I'm getting what I want. You see there's a filter here also taking out all the filter here, taking out all the undesirables. So we'll go ahead and open that. This is based on the same signal that's coming here. If the shape doesn't match, then it'll be taken out. Alright, let's go ahead and release those into the painter. And you'll notice that actually I won't be painting this time because our shape is gray. Now, the painter has the ability to select specific quadrants that are going to be painted, but in this case, because the shape is gray, I'm actually going to open up this receptacle and I'm just going to release them straight from the bottom of my painter, and that's going to let the gray ones just flow straight into the receptacle again. So I'm going to look to stop that. What do we have up here? So we have about 260. So I think I stopped when we reached about 500 or 600 down here. So we'll let it flow for a little bit, just to generate enough volume so that when we put the final shapes through the system, there's enough time for it to register. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop this. Drop right here. And I can reset my selections. Last few are coming through. Close that gate there. Purge the machine to get as much of the excess out of it. And close that exit gate. And let it flow all the way to the bottom. And once the last few fall through, we'll close that exit gate. Okay. Alright, so now I have two storage containers, one with the bottom, one with the top. Down here I have a selection key that keys directly off of the combination, so it knows what goes in the bottom and the top. This is my final storage area. I have two spots here. Everything's closed. I am going to go ahead and send these back to recycle, so they'll come back up here and drop into a third reservoir. So I'm going to store them back there, and let me start the combiner. So combiner, parts drop into the combiner, and then while they're combining, you can see here they are. Everything looks okay. So I'll open the exit from the combiner, and then you can see the parts are flowing back up to the top, and they're going to get stored in here. And here they start coming in. While that's going on, I will go ahead and real quickly just purge the paint out of the painter. There wasn't much to purge there, but okay, so I'll let this flow and we'll come back in a second. Okay, the last few shapes have gone through. Close the exit gate and the return gate. You just purge these excess out of the combiner, and we're going to close the exit gate here and the input gate here. So I now have my first two layers put together. Now it's time to do the third layer. So I'm going to go back into my configuration, and we're going to go ahead and stick the completed shape because it's a 3-layer shape, and get back out of my configuration. Yeah, now you'll see the first layer is this one here, which we have right up here. And now we need to make a turquoise windmill. Again, no need to use a quarter mixer because we have just a straight up shape. So it's going to be pretty straightforward to configure. You'll notice that I can do up to 4 layers on any given shape. So this is a 3-layer shape, but this will go to 4 layers if necessary. So we'll skip again. This is our quarter mixer. Up here we have our half mixer, or in this case I just can release straight up windmills. And you can see here we're just doing a straight up windmill. So I'll just go ahead and start releasing that into the paint mixer. And easy enough, we're doing full turquoise quadrants. We'll release those into the paint mixer as well. And let me open them into this receptacle here. Alright, so I'll let these flow for a little bit. Again, we're just going to look for about 800 or so, and then I'll stop it. The rest will come from the flow through in the system. Alright, I like that number. Let's go up here cut off the flow of windmills. Watch them flow through the painter. That's probably enough now. We can cut off the flow to the painter as well. Let me unconfigure these while we're here. So we just turn them off, do a little cleanup. Same thing with the windmill. Go back down to my holding cells. You see there's my third layer. Just going to purge the painter as well. That's done. And make sure my valve is closed. It's time to release it into the mixer. And again, the mixer automatically knows which is the top and which is the bottom based on the logic built into these gates. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to actually let them mix and I'm going to hold them. And I'm doing this because we're looking for a specific flow target. So you see we need to get 11 units per second. So my mixers may not necessarily be producing 11 units per second, but if I hold them and then release them all in one go, then we will definitely achieve that flow rate. So I'll get back to you in a second once the mixing is complete. We're done with the mixing. I'm going to close that gate. I'm going to purge the storage containers. Close these and the gates. Mixing is complete. I can then release them. So they're going to go on their merry way over to the hub. Meanwhile, I will just go ahead and purge the mixer as well. Get rid of all this excess. And jump over to the hub. So you notice right here, we just click on the hub. Zoom out a little bit. And you'll see the parts are going to start flowing in through these tracks. And you'll see that the machine's a little far away. It's right here, so there's a little bit of time for them to flow. We'll talk about that in one of the design videos. So here's a flow through rate. We should be achieving about 20 units, just like we are in all the other channels. And there we go. Level 55 has been completed. We now have a new shape that we need to build. And that's how the Build Anything machine works. Thanks for watching.